All right, so let's see how the box office looked last weekend. I thought I had this up. Here we go. All right, so big release last weekend was Scream 6, The Search for
Oh,
More Money.
yes. More Ghostface.
Yeah. Not being a horror guy, I have no feelings on this franchise one way or the other, outside of knowing that they kind of deconstructed the slasher tropes before it was cool and before Scary Movie ran it into the ground.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was, you know, Wes Craven's second most popular horror franchise behind the Elm Street series.
Mm.
Um, and it was kind of a comeback for him because his career had kind of like petered out at that point. So I find it kind of interesting that they're still doing these movies even after his passing. Um,
It seems like all they want to put in theaters anymore are superhero movies and uh, and horror movies. And superhero movies seem to be waning a bit, so they might just be all horror all the time pretty quick.
yeah, yeah. Well, the way that Blumhouse keeps cranking them out. I mean,
Yep. Yep. So they'll have plenty of supply.
yeah,
Um, in its second week, Creed 3 dropped about 50%,
that's not
giving
bad.
a total domestic gross of about 100 million. Although I question the number here because the first weekend it opened at da, 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 da. I wanted to say 58 million. Okay, let's see here. So okay, never mind. For some reason I had in my head it had done 68 million its opening weekend,
Oh,
and so I might have even thought 68 million last week when we were talking about it. But the math does check out. I was wondering,
all right.
68 to 27 million. That isn't
Yeah,
that isn't 53%.
yeah.
Unless they're discounting the Thursday night previews, but they never discount the Thursday night previews. What's going on here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out I was the idiot. All right, but
That's all right.
that's a decent hold for it.
Yeah.
It's not Ant-Man collapsing 70%.
Doof. No.
Yep. So
Yeah.
it does seem like if you account for inflation, it's basically the same audience size as Creed 2,
Hmm.
which not too surprising.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the franchise with its core fan base, and yeah.
Hmm. So good on Amazon for putting this in theaters instead of dumping it right to streaming.
Yeah. Indeed. Yeah. And of course, he also got 65 there, which
Oof. Uh,
that's the uh,
wait, oh, excuse me, I hit the wrong thing here.
oh, there you go.
65, which it's funny. I actually managed to correct Valiant Renegade on his live stream on Sunday because
Oh,
he was quoting some Variety article had listed the budget as 45 million,
yeah.
and the numbers says 91 million.
Ah,
So I super chatted at them, and he actually was kind of nice about it, about me. Actually, I phrased it as a question
ah.
rather than calling him out about it. Like, hey, some sources are saying 91 million, and he wondered what sources I had, and I said, oh, the numbers.
Yeah,
He's like, oh, that's a good source.
yeah.
um, but so at 45 million, this type of debut isn't great, but easily enough made up by the fact that Sony sells their stuff to different streaming companies so they can make it up.
Yeah,
At a 91 million budget, a 12 million opening, and 8 million, less than 8 million international is oof.
yeah. Well, I think the couple of I think the biggest problem is the title.
Hmm.
Um, it's not very specific, and it's a time travel movie with dinosaurs. I mean,
Yeah, you're gonna have with dinosaurs. You have a built-in audience who will see anything with dinosaurs in it. I'm kind of in there, although I've been able to skip the last couple of Jurassic World movies because I didn't like the first one.
Yeah.
It occurs to me that you talked about it as a generic title. I call it the plane problem.
Yeah. Yeah, basically a placeholder title. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I guess Adam Driver isn't a huge driver of box office returns on his own.
Nope.
I heard he did fine in it. I also hear it's kind of a boring movie in a lot of ways, and without enough dinosaur
Mm.
action.
Oh, yeah.
The theory that they had on the Valiant Renegade stream was that the 45 million was like the original budget, but apparently they went back and did some reworking on it, so that might have increased things.
Oh, yeah.
So you factor in whatever marketing budget you had, and sorry, Sony, this is yeah, Sony's been typically pretty smart lately, although I guess Devotion was also really real underperformance, unless that
Yeah.
movie was filmed for nothing.
Yeah. Well,
So
yeah. Yeah.
that feels like 2017 Sony,
Yeah.
but they just could not make anything stick.
Mm-hmm.
So too bad.
Yep.
Um, Rounding out the top five, we've got Quantumania, which fell 44% off. I think that's an improvement percentage wise, but
Yeah, yeah.
less than 10 million for the weekend. And we got Cocaine Bear, which is yeah, it's been out for 3 weeks now. Wow, time has really
Wow.
flown this month.
Yes, it has.
And if we take a quick look here, that's right, they never listed its budget anywhere, at least not
Uh,
here. So don't know how it's doing overall,
yeah.
but it couldn't have been too expensive.
Yeah.
Uh, we got a new movie called Champions, which I have no information and no opinion on.
Yeah. Same. It kind of sounds familiar, but I'm trying to.
Um,
Oh, that's that Woody Harrelson movie
oh, okay.
where he's coaching a basketball team. Yeah.
Oh, I think I saw a trailer for that.
I've seen it on Twitter. Yeah.
Okay. Well, no opinion.
Yeah.
Then we've got Jesus Revolution. Then we've got our stay holds from late December, Avatar: The Way of Water, and Puss in Boots. Do you realize that we live in a world where Puss in Boots has legged its way out to probably going to end up with a bigger overall gross that well, actually, nah, I don't think
Nah.
that's going to happen. But it's in the ballpark of Quantumania,
Quantumania.
and Puss in Boots got legitimately hobbled its first weekend by that massive storm we had back in December.
Right.
Because as soon as
Yeah.
people could actually go see it, they went out in droves and kept going out in droves.
Yeah.
It's still making a little money in theaters, even though you can watch it. You can buy it digitally, buy a Blu-ray or DVD. I think you can even stream it for free uh, on some service now.
Oh.
I think it would be on.
Peacock.
No, it's Universal. Oh, yeah, you're right, Peacock. I
Yeah.
always get Peacock and Paramount Plus confused, which is a huge problem for them.
Yeah.
Why do we both have to be something P?
Yeah.
And then rounding out the top 10, we've got Operation Fortune Ruse de Guerre, which I think we can safely call a huge mega bomb at this point.
Yeah.
And Clinging to Theaters, after Everything Everywhere All at Once, which had a ridiculously long box office stay last year.
Yeah.
And then it went back into theaters again as soon as it was nominated for those Oscars.
Yes. Yeah. And we'll definitely we'll be talking more about that in a minute. But
Yep. So, I think this is just we can safely say this is kind of a week for the box office.
hmm
I even Scream 6 was coming in under the predictions I was seeing of like 50 million.
uh,
So I guess people just didn't see anything that made them motivated to go.
yeah. Yeah, and you can only do so many Scream movies before people are like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. Well, let's see what people watched when they did stay at home. So, oh yeah, here's Puss in Boots uh, at number one, as it deserves.
Is this the same as
Damn
last
it, it
week?
is the same one. They are really inconsistent about how often they update this thing.
I know. Yeah, golly.
So, in so much as we have no new information, I guess we move on to our final topic of the day. Well,
Yeah.
first and final topic.